It's time now for Money Matters, where we talk about some of the biggest stories impacting your wallet this week. I'm Jonathan Martin. Well, consumer confidence is up and so is consumer spending, but it's not without consequences for Americans, with one generation particularly strained during these first few months of 2024. Reporter Karen Kafa has details.
3 years of high inflation plus higher interest rates to tame it have equaled more financial stress on the American consumer, especially when it comes to credit cards.
More people are carrying more credit card debt for longer periods of time. We're talking record high balances, record high interest rates. It's a tough combination, unfortunately.
A report released Tuesday by the Federal Reserve Bank of New York said credit card balances rose to a new high of $1.13 trillion in the final 3 months of 2023. And credit card and auto loan delinquencies pushed past pre-pandemic levels to their highest levels in more than a decade. Researchers at the New York Fed believe the post-pandemic resumption of federal student loan payments has added to the financial stress, particularly for people ages 30 to 39. Bankrate senior industry analyst Ted Rossman says he'll be looking closely at the New York Fed's next report in May. Typically, credit card balances fall in the first quarter of the year. In 2023, they did not, which can be a troubling sign about consumers' ability to keep up.
People always have this enthusiasm about New Year's resolutions and debt payoff, and you knock out that holiday debt hangover. Last year, people really weren't able to do that, and that was largely because of high prices and high rates, and I do worry that we may see some of the same this year.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
New numbers show cyber criminals were able to steal a record $1.1 billion in ransom payments last year from victims all around the world. The crypto tracking firm Chainalysis says the surge in ransom payments nearly doubled from 2022. This is all despite federal efforts to cut off their money flows. Some targets in the U.S. included hospitals, schools, and even casinos. The new report did not track additional losses that victims suffered while trying to recover from ransomware attacks, which is often in the millions of dollars. Looking for love online can bring a thrill, but as the FBI is now warning, romance scams are on the rise. Reporter Linda Baccaro has tips on how to stay safe while finding romance.
Looking for love through social media or a dating site can be romantic. It can also be scary.
Mostly just creeps, like you gotta be careful if you accept, random followers.
The FBI warning those encounters might leave you with a lot more than just a broken heart.
In the year 2022 alone, the FBI received 19,000 complaints, totaling $740 million. But those are just the complaints that the FBI receives.
In these so-called romance scams, the FBI says scammers troll social media sites to get information on their victims. Then they'll strike up a conversation, slowly trying to gain trust. That's when they'll describe an emergency requiring your financial help.
Of most concern to us are the victims that are seniors. They may be living on fixed incomes. They may be isolated or lonely.
The FBI has these tips to help protect you. Think twice before sharing personal information online. Only use well-known dating sites, and beware of attempts to isolate you. And if they keep finding excuses not to meet you in person, that's another red flag. Never send money to anyone you don't know, and never help move money to someone you don't know personally through your account. If you suspect a scam, report it to the FBI at ic3.gov. These college students have their own advice.
I'll probably go with someone just to make sure I'm safe and not alone.
I'd say probably meet them someplace public.
It is officially tax season, and if you've already filed your taxes, now you may be asking, where's my refund? Well, the fastest way to get it is electronically. If you chose to receive your refund by direct deposit, it will probably be issued within 21 days. And if you filed by paper, it could take at least 4 weeks or more to get it. So you can track it by using the IRS's Where's My Refund tool on their website. The refund is issued once the agency approves your filing. Typically, 75% of Americans receive refunds each year. Early numbers from the IRS are showing the average refund this year is about $1,400, which is down from around 29% last year. It's nothing new that we are in the midst of a housing crisis. According to a new report from Harvard, half of all renters nationwide are now spending more than 30% of their income on rent and utilities, and that is a record high. Housing is considered affordable if it costs no more than 30% of a person's gross income, which is what you make before taxes. The report states we haven't seen this level of cost-burdened households since the Great Recession of 2008, when 10 million Americans lost their homes to foreclosure. So the hardest hit have been renters who make less than $30,000 a year, who were left with just $310 after paying rent and utilities. The report also says rent increases have slowed since 2022 because more apartments and houses have been built, but wages haven't kept pace. Pain at the pump. Fuel prices here in Georgia have been inching up over the past month, and that's slightly earlier than the typical mid-February climb. And as we head into the summer months, 11 Alive's Jerry Carnes may have some bad news for people who are looking for a deal.
For most of us, it's too early to think about summer. That's not the case with the oil refineries that will soon switch from a winter to summer blend of gasoline. It's just one of the factors that will send the price at the pump on a steady climb.
It's kind of like hopping on a country road. Sometimes it might be smooth and you might get to your destination without any potholes, but sometimes there could be some bumps in the road.
Problems at several of the major refineries, along with an increase in the price of crude oil, are behind the most recent bump that has added about 9 cents a gallon to the price of regular unleaded in Georgia. Gas Buddy's Patrick DeHaan says we should expect sharper increases beginning in March. Refineries will reduce production for maintenance as they prepare to start producing the more expensive summer blend of gas.
Traditionally, during an average year, gas prices jump between 35 to 85 cents between Valentine's Day and Memorial Day weekend. So we're in store for quite a jump that could happen very soon.
It's been well over a year since Metro Atlanta has seen the average price of gasoline at over $4 a gallon. DeHaan believes we'll likely stay below that threshold this year if oil refineries can avoid major disruptions.
Car repairs are getting more expensive, staying in line with the overall rate of inflation. Now, some of the factors contributing to the rise: heavier, more complex vehicles, new material, and fewer technicians post-pandemic. From November 2013 to November 2023, maintenance and repair costs went up 4.1%. The increase was especially sharp. It's been sharp since the pandemic. And experts say newer cars are basically a rolling network of computers now. So if you're involved in a crash, there could be multiple parts that need fixing versus one or two. And at the end of last year, the cost of labor was up nearly $60 an hour versus $50 an hour in 2019. And many dropped out of the career path during the pandemic as people drove less and demand for repairs also dried up. If you're looking to take your relationship to the next level, you may be shopping for an engagement ring. And before you buy, it's important to do your research on diamonds and figure out how you can get the most bang for your buck. So should you buy a natural or a lab-grown diamond? Reporter Jen Sullivan takes a look at the pros and cons of both.
Like your love, a diamond is forever, so you want to make sure you're doing your research. The first decision is whether to buy a natural diamond or a lab-grown stone.
We have learned how to pressurize carbon in a lab.
Rachel Akmakjian with Brightco says lab-grown diamonds are becoming more popular. And if you put one side by side with a natural stone, they look the exact same to the naked eye.
It's just like growing a rose in a greenhouse versus growing it in your garden.
Whether you're buying a natural diamond or lab-grown, you're still going to ask about the 4 C's. Carat, the weight and size. Color, D being the best because it's colorless. Clarity, whether the stone is flawless or has some blemishes. And cut, which is how the stone captures light and sparkles. The big difference between natural and lab-grown is the price tag.
There is a pretty significant savings when you go with lab-grown diamonds.
According to Brightco, lab-grown diamonds can cost 50 to 60% less than a natural diamond. That's because lab diamonds only take a few weeks to make. The process to mine a diamond is much harder.
There's a certain challenge to getting that diamond from the mine to your finger, to the consumer.
Here's another big difference: value. When you buy a natural diamond, you're making a serious investment. A natural diamond will retain its worth, and it's also going to cost you more to insure. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
As we celebrate Black History Month, we are taking time to listen to conversations about Black wealth and learn about the power of the Black dollar. 11 Alive's Aisha Howard introduces us to a woman living her life's purpose by making sure Black business owners not only grind together, but shine together as a community.
This is the village. All things Black excellence.
It's not the concrete jungle, but in Atlanta inside Ponce City Market, this is where Black entrepreneurial dreams are made of. Dr. Lakeisha Hallman, or Dr. Key, birthed the Village Market retail shop as part of her bigger vision, building Black wealth through the power of community.
I wanted to make sure that I was positioning Black brands to be in front of buying customers from all over the world. Many of these brands, what's so special is that they're extremely gifted, and this is their first time in retail.
And then how many entrepreneurs do you have in the store right now?
We have over 30 brands in the store.
Collectively, this diverse group of business owners known as the Villagers have earned $8.3 million in direct sales as a result of direct action.
I think this is one of the most powerful green grass walls I see in Atlanta.
So
support is a verb.
This is how we've been able to generate that $8.3 million in direct sales. Support is a verb is a charge, a challenge to the community to put action behind the things that you say you love. If we love local businesses, the verb is to buy from local businesses.
Gilletta Covard's fitness and heated apparel line, Just J Fitness, is booming after only being a part of the Village for 3 months.
So they have been instrumental in increasing my brand awareness and then just attracting so many different customers from across the globe. I've only been in here 3 months, but month to month, in fourth quarter, my sales have drastically improved.
Dr. Key acknowledges not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur, but it is a substantial pathway for Black Americans to achieve economic equality and to tackle the racial wealth gap, even in the presence of opposition.
Systemic racism exists in ways that's glaring, and then it doesn't always feel as potent either. When you only have less than 1% of Black people still getting funding, that's systemic.
Despite that jarring statistic, Black buying power is, well, powerful. According to the Selig Center for Economic Growth at UGA, Black buying power is expected to hit $1.8 trillion in 2024. Dr. Key wants to show the Black community a piece of that pie belongs to them and generational wealth can be attained together.
Dreams are made more possible if you're around enough representation that looks like you. So I had to bring the right people to the table. So entrepreneurs and some of the finest people in Atlanta, I needed them to go hard after their dreams. I needed them to also understand that they didn't have to do it by themselves.
What I found to be so special is the support of the other entrepreneurs. Because you're like, I'm not at this alone. You are, but you aren't. We're dealing with the same things.
And if creating wealth through entrepreneurship is your dream, Dr. Key says the Village has your back.
I am forever optimistic, and I'm not waiting for anyone to save us.
Entrepreneurs can apply to have their product-based business inside the Village. Dr. Key says the main goal for all business owners is to have a community mindset that goes beyond just helping yourself.